Over the course of history, many movements have been undertaken and have often started at what some call grassroots. Movements like the women's right to vote, civil rights fronted by Martin Luther King, LGBTQ+, and other huge notable causes. At the forefront of every movement is an idea, and often that idea is taken on person to person, seemingly through osmosis, as it gains traction. That passionate person convinces others in their sphere of influence of that one thing that seemingly no one has thought about before. It spreads through word of mouth and escalates as it reaches different levels of social status. This is often achieved as it reaches larger influencers and those who can affect change in upper echelons of power. And one of these most recent movements is that of the Occupy Wall Street movement. Occupy Wall Street, OWS, according to Wikipedia, was a protest movement against economic inequality that began in Zuccotti Park, located in New York City's Wall Street financial district in September 2011. It gave rise to the wider Occupy movement in the United States and other countries. The Canadian anti-consumerist magazine Adbusters initiated the call for a protest. The main issues raised by Occupy Wall Street were social and economic inequality, greed, corruption, and the undue influence of corporations on government, particularly from the financial services sector. The OWS slogan, "We are the 99%, refers to the income and wealth inequality in the US between the wealthiest 1% and the rest of the population. Though polarizing and often branded as socialist, most people finally understood that there is something deeply ingrained in society that pushes minorities and lower classes down and keeps them there. Because of this movement, OWS is one of the most loved and one of the most hated movements of the modern era. But why are they hated? Because OWS seemingly stood for equality. It seems like a no-brainer. Well, it's polarizing to a community that might not think that corporate America is broken and a monopoly, and for the far-reaching idea that it's not about equality, rather a takedown of everything they once held dear, and a fear that it could disrupt what some say is a system that is fine as is. This is not about OWS, rather a quick look into what makes a movement successful and the troubles it might find itself in as it pursues its goals. Most movements at their core are trying to effect change for the better, often moved by injustices that are not seen by most, until something like OWS happens, and like the embers of a fire that was lying in wait until the winds of change blew and ignited them again. The Occupy movement is far from over. Some of the most pressing movements today are political, environmental, and human at their core, like OWS. One movement that never caught its flame was the movement to protect children. Since the dawn of time, children have been exploited, traded for sex and slavery, bought and sold into families, and abused while the world stands around and closes their eyes and ears because it's often too gross to understand the reality that humans can do those things to other humans. Specifically the humans we're sworn to protect. Children. According to Harvard Business Review, in the 1950s, the prominent psychologist Solomon Asch undertook a path-breaking series of conformity studies. What he found was that small groups of people will conform to a majority opinion. Most recent research suggests that the effect applies not only to people we know well, but that we are also influenced even by second and third degree relationships. So while we usually notice successful movements after they've begun to attract large crowds and hold massive demonstrations, those are effects, not causes of successful mobilization. It is when small groups connect, which has become exponentially easier in the digital age, that they gain their power, which is what is happening right now on YouTube. A small group of what the internet calls commentators have taken the place of investigative journalists and taken on causes like the exploitation of children by family vloggers, which right now is in its infant stage of a movement that could have huge ramifications for a whole swath of people. But just like this movement that has started, it has its main voices. In this case, the conversation started inadvertently in T channels. A T channel is a gossip channel on YouTube where a person or avatar will dish the spicy details and gossip, or tea as they call it, of the goings-on in the world of famous people and YouTubers. Although maybe not realizing they were part of the movement, they started uncovering with the help of websites like YouTube Mama Drama, Kiwi, and Tatalife. Though rooted in drama and gossip, these people were uncovering a massive problem on the internet: the exploitation of children by the very families that are sworn to protect them. It's difficult to pinpoint who started the idea that these families were exploiting their kids, but what can't be argued is that it's becoming a national conversation. In May of 2020, a successful family vlog called The Stauffer Life came into national attention by seemingly coming clean about rehoming their adopted child from China. The fallout was enormous, and countless commentary and T channels along with national news outlets started breaking this story wide open. At the center, James and Micah Stauffer went into radio silence after putting an apology video that gained more than 5 million views and netting them close to $40,000 to $50,000 before privating it. Deemed to many as one of 2020's biggest scandals on YouTube, in a year where COVID-19 took over the planet and an election that divided the most powerful country in the world, it still often took the spotlight on YouTube. Channels like Spill, Philip DeFranco, Tom Harlock, Sloan, Andre Turbia, Deaf Noodles, Without a Crystal Ball, and so many more covered the story, just like I did. And although most of them did it from the perspective of tea and drama like they were supposed to do, it ignited the fire that we're seeing right now. A quick cursory search on YouTube brings up many stories in the past that place this movement starting at over 2 years ago with channels like Tiffany Ferg, who did a video called Family Vloggers Are Ridiculous. It didn't quite gain steam until the Micah and James debacle hit YouTube algorithm with massive force. Which brings us to where we are right now. So I did that video because I think that's kind of the direction I want to take this in. I want to start doing data-driven, expose-style, documentary-looking videos. You know, that put less of me in there, all my personality quirks and my brashness and my snark and all that stuff, and puts it into a data-driven, analytical video based on video proof and evidence. And so when I start uncovering family vloggers, that's what it's going to look like. All my snarky and fun stuff, still going to be on the other channels, no problem. But for here, where this lands, as this topic starts getting a lot more serious and a lot more coverage, I'm listening, I'm hearing, and I'm definitely going to be changing my direction in how I'm going to deliver this on this channel. I feel like often I have to tell people why I'm doing it, and because people will continue to lie and make shit up in other people's comment sections, which then spreads to other people. Then they'll come to me and say, hey, did you do this thing? What's going on with this? I wish people would just focus on the mission. Everybody always stands on this that, yeah, I believe what Josh is doing is right. I don't believe how he's doing it is right. And I'm okay with that. Look, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. But all I'm saying is that with your considerable time and energy and followings, instead of just always tearing me down, which is fair game, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see you guys do some more videos actually helping stop the exploitation of children on YouTube. Now, everybody comes at me with that, I'm doing it wrong, I'm terrible at what I do, and blah, blah, blah. And I know it's a small minority of people, but as a human being, I hear those things, and sometimes it can cause you to think and cause you to pause and do the things, and then I hear all the, the support I get, and then I'm going to start following with my main supporters. And a lot of people are saying ignore the haters, and I am going to ignore all the dissent and all that stuff because it really doesn't matter for what I'm doing here. Basically, if you want to talk about who I'm accountable to, it's the viewers that give me their social media currency and watch this show. And for all of them who do that, the 10 or 15 or so who leave, that's just kind of how this goes. As you grow, you're going to, a small swath of people are going to be like, I don't like him anymore, and they're going to peace out. I have to stop paying attention to those people, basically. And I'm going to have to start listening to the people that are here for what they're here for. And so that means I do have to address a few things, right? So I want to address the idea that what I'm doing is wrong. Absolutely, I don't think so. I think what I'm doing is right. What I did was bring people to this channel, and it worked. And then I used that considerable following that I gained to do videos like I did the other day with Dr. Kirk, where we talked about consent and how kids cannot give informed consent. And that is from a professional who said with unequivocalness that kids cannot consent. He also said, we do not need kids on YouTube. There should be no place for kids on YouTube. Regardless of what you want to talk about the other things and come at me for that stuff, those are the two major issues I've always been stuck on. And the fact that he said those things, score. And that is a professional saying those things. Kids can't give consent, and kids should not be on YouTube. The other thing I want to talk about is this idea that what I'm doing here is detrimental to the cause. Now, a lot of them will say that they support the cause, but do not support the way that I do it. In the end, actually what I have been doing has been working, and not just me, like you saw in the beginning of the video. This inadvertently started with T channels, and they might not have even been going after that same cause where to demonetize or remove kids from YouTube or underage, right? They might not have been thinking about that stuff. But in the end, this is where we've landed. And I looked everywhere, and there's been a bunch of vloggers like Andre that said, we have to stop this, like this. And so I'm definitively standing here, so all of you can hear this and timestamp it for everybody. I did not start this, nor am I the main perpetrator of this movement, okay? I am just one of many voices in this movement, but I've landed on a lot of people's radars because of the analytics conversation that I started. I looked everywhere for other people talking about analytics. I can't seem to find any, and I'm not saying I'm the father of looking at analytics, but when I dropped my analytics video about who was watching specifically Everly LeBrant on Instagram, that started something. Now, I don't want to take credit for it. Okay, this is not about taking credit. I could care less. All those people who are doing all these videos against me want to take the credit. You go ahead, I'll write your name on it. You can have all the credit. I don't want the credit. What I want is to see kids taken off of YouTube. That's what I want. And Instagram and TikTok and all the platforms. That's what I want. If you guys want all the accolades and all the I started it, go have it. I don't want it. It really is just nothing but negative. When you get to a point where you get on people's radars, all it does is throw negative shit your way. And I don't want it. So you can have it. Okay? That's not why I do this. I don't do this for money because I don't make a lot of money. My real job, I make money. Okay? I make good money. Everybody comes at me like, oh, he's on YouTube, he's got a Tesla. I have a Tesla because I worked my ass off for the last 25 years of my life and doing things that I'm good at to make money to buy the things I wanted. YouTube does not make me the kind of money you guys think that it makes me. It's just not there. I have 45,000 followers. What do you guys think? I'm making millions of dollars? It's not the case. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Do I make a side hustle? I absolutely do make a little bit of a side hustle. It pays for my wife's schooling. I love it. It's great. But it's not the reason I do it. And I don't know how to prove it to you guys. I never will. People who are dissenters, people who hate me will hate me no matter what I say. It doesn't matter. So I have to completely just ignore them, and I will. Again, it's just a small population of people that have come on my channel, didn't like what I had to say, or didn't respond to a comment, and then all of a sudden I'm the devil incarnate. So be it. That's how YouTube goes. People are fickle, and that's just the way it is. But I don't do that for money, and if everybody else wants to give the accolades, go for it. Go find the people who started the movement, then tell me that I'm wrong about it. I will give them all the props. It's not about props, people. It literally is about fighting against the exploitation of children on YouTube and social media. That is it. Tell me how else I should prove this to you. In order to get a bigger voice, you need to grow on YouTube. When you grow on YouTube, you get paid a little bit more. Am I going to take the money? Absolutely. Do you know how long these videos take me? Okay, it takes me a long time. When I'm not working, I'm down here doing the videos. When I'm not here, I'm upstairs hanging out with my kids. Everybody comes at me about my personal life. Don't worry about my personal life. I'm very good at making my family come first. Okay? They are always going to be first. It's half the reason I'm doing this. And so if your whole goal is to shut me down because I'm against the movement or I'm tearing down this movement, tell me where the movement is. Where is this movement? And tell me how I'm doing it wrong. Because in my end, I'm seeing at least 5 family vloggers that have come forward, some of them even mentioning me, to the reason that they no longer put their kids on YouTube. I've had 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 emails about people who have reconsidered how they're going to put their kids on the internet. And saying that it was because of the conversation I started. I'm not saying I'm the end all for this whole movement, but things that I have done have absolutely helped. Okay? Making fun of Micah, so be it. You don't like that? Don't watch it. You don't like me? Don't watch me. I've told you guys a million times. If you don't like something a commentator is saying, the only way to combat it is to completely ignore it. Stop watching me. Stop leaving thumbs downs. Stop leaving negative comments, because all it does is help me. I'm giving you advice if you hate me. Ignore me. It's the only way this works. Because in the end, when those people have come forward and said that I've helped change their mind, that's all I'm hearing from this point forward. Okay? If you don't like that I'm making fun of somebody who did some heinous act against another human being, I'm sorry for you. That's it. If you want to feel sorry for Micah and James for me bullying them, that's your prerogative. But that's okay. They deserve every bit of vitriol and hate they get, and it's not just for me. So I want to make sure you guys, if you're coming just at me, you make sure you're coming at every commentator that's making videos about them. Yeah, I've made 50 videos plus about them. Yep. But I want to make sure you guys are understanding what the idea of hypocrisy means. Okay? Go into some of these channels and look at how many videos they're making about people like Without a Crystal Ball, Jeffree Star, and all the other channels that they talk about. That is what commentators do. I'm not the only one who has ever made multiple videos about somebody. That is how I'm going to roll. That is how I'm going to do this. That is how I've grown to almost 50,000 subscribers, because clearly people like what I have to say. Now, the 30 or 40 people that go onto other people's comment sections and leave millions of comments about me, usually copying and pasting them, I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope that you can find a great place to belong. Just ignore me. It's just the way to do it. And once I do get kicked off YouTube, you guys can have your little celebratory cake and party, and that's fine. I know that my time on here is not long, but I'm going to make a dent while I'm here. But I have to go back. I mean, like any others, I started covering the story from the perspective of disbelief, right? When this whole thing went down with Micah and James, okay? And I'm going to do a video like you saw at the beginning about their whole story, okay? It upset me because I have 2 adopted boys, and people keep coming out and saying I was not adopted. My mother was adopted. I was not adopted. I adopted. Get your story straight, please. Do your research. That's really important if you're going to have a leg to stand on. What I did this for was because I have a podcast called the Dad Challenge Podcast, and you can search it on any major podcast platform, where me and a couple of buddies would often get on and talk about things that are important to us as dads. Okay? And then this happened, and I said, man, I'm going to go do this on YouTube. Because we were going to transform over to YouTube anyway, and I said, I turned the camera on, I did the video that you guys initially saw, then the conversation lit up. And I said, okay, yeah, I'm going to capitalize on this conversation. I'm going to keep it going. And then after about 4 videos, I was like, okay, I got to be done with this because I don't know it. And I moved on to other things. I told my story about being an ex-pastor. I started talking about the problem with churches, and then I started talking about other family vloggers as the Micah situation kept going and kept, when they came out with their fake apology, and then just continued to just go on with Stauffer Garage. I'm like, I'm not having this anymore. The reason I continue to do it, and please listen, timestamp this too, please, is because James Stauffer still has a channel called the Stauffer Garage with over 1 million subscribers. And if you don't see a problem with that, I'm sorry. Like, can you tell me why that's not a problem? Can you tell me why that James building his channel off the fame of the Stauffer life and Micah Stauffer to grow his platform off the back of H is not a problem? I'm sorry, there's a problem. And I'm not going to stop until everybody knows who he is. Do I want him deplatformed? No. Do I want people to know who he really is? Yes. Stauffer Garage will likely never have another sponsorship as long as they live, because there is about 5,000 people on the internet, not just me, who will come after any sponsorship they have. He lost major issues with Lilybrush, people who were against him, and now he's trying to sue them. And then he started dropshipping cheaper products because everybody hated what they did, right? Do I hate Micah and James Stauffer? It's really, really hard because, especially as an ex-pastor, it's a really, really hard word to say. But no, I hate what they did, absolutely. I hate who they are and what YouTube makes you, because all these family vloggers are falling right in line with exactly who they are. They're all the same. I hate what YouTube does to families, because basically in the end, it's what money does to families. Do I think James and Micah actually are, like, did this on purpose, like sneering and like, we're going to do this and make money and we're going to like, yeah. No, and I've said that multiple times. I don't think that they did this on purpose. I did think that a lot of it had to do with greed, right? I did think that they brought him here and they understood how much money they made because of it. I don't think they did it to a point where they were like, this is our major plan. We're going to do this to make money only, and then we're going to rehome. I didn't think they had the idea that they were going to rehome him later. I do not think that. I do not hate them. Although, you know, it could be construed that I sort of do. I sort of do. But I more hate what they did and the idea that they just keep being able to go on with what they were doing. That's what bothers me the most. I hate that Micah said things like this.
This is going to be a lot. You know, we don't know what unknown elements could be. And for us, it was hard. It was hard to hear somebody say that. But for me, more than anything, I go from one diagnosis to a totally different diagnosis. And if anything, my child is not returnable. So when I heard all of the things that that doctor was telling us, it kind of went in one ear and out the other. I wasn't in a state of denial. I accepted and took on everything that she said. And I sat down with Jim. I said, you know, worst case situation, if our little boy at one point in his life, he needed to be in a wheelchair and he needed full on care, would you still love him? And we, without a doubt in our minds, we knew no matter what state he came to us, that we would love him. And that's one thing that I'm starting to love about this process.
That they played this up and they made tons of money off the back of this little kid, and then they rehomed them when it got too hard for them. Look, as a parent myself, it is hard to be a parent. We make this choice when we become parents, especially when you become an adoptive parent. You can't just pick and choose the thing you want as an adoptive parent and be like, well, can I get a return on this one and get another one? Because it's exactly what Micah was trying to do. She was trying to return the one and get a different one that was easier. When you adopt, you take on those issues. You understand that life's not going to be all roses. Okay? And putting a camera on this kid since before you even got him was the wrong thing to do. A lot of people also use this argument that Well, he's in a better place. Aren't you happy? Absolutely. I'm happy he's in a better place. Okay? And so am I at fault for being overly passionate? Sure. Micah and James weren't saying anything to anybody, and there was 1 million people upset about this. Not just me. Like 1 million people. So in order for them to go radio silent on something so important got people wondering, is he okay? Because they weren't saying a word about it. Then obviously the police investigation. So, but that was the issue. The plan was never ever to sit in front of you right now and talk about how can we shut down the exploitation of children on YouTube. It was never that. The plan was just to continue talking about, to be a Dad Challenge podcast, to talk about things that are important to me as a dad, make fun of some people, have a little snark, because that's my personality. Yeah. The plan was never to do this. Everything changed once I started understanding that this is exploitation. And I didn't even realize it until, I want to say, October, end of October. I'm like, man, this is full exploitation. Then I started digging into the analytics, and then finding that these engagement analytics were insane. That what was actually going on, these people were being ingested, and then the friggin' playlist and everything started happening. I saw all this as you guys saw it with me. This isn't something I pre-planned. And then it all shaped to where it is now, like small movements, grass movements do. I did not have this plan to do this. I don't even really want to continue on this path, to be honest with you. At this point, I'm kind of too far gone. I kind of have to continue. Because now if I stop talking about it because I'm getting all the hate and my anxiety is building up, then I'm like a coward for walking away and it's not good. It wasn't making any money. It bothers me because I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I've got all the haters and people leaving vitriolic videos about me for no reason, who know nothing about me, by the way, who lie most of the time and who do ill research on anything. Generally, it's the lying that gets me. But that is like, why would I do this if I'm going to get a hate? But in the end, I think it's important enough that I can deal with the hate if it definitely helps this forward. Okay? And it already has. If you can tell me that these 5 channels that have taken their kids down is nothing, I'm sorry, you're wrong. That's something. That is something, and you should celebrate it. You shouldn't just tear people down because of that, because it doesn't fit your narrative. That's the problem. So did I start this? No. Will I continue? Maybe not at the full capacity that I'm continuing at right now. Maybe I'm going to do these like documentary style exposés on these families itself, so that I, can appease as many people as possible, bring as many people to the table as possible, because I do agree with most. The more people you can bring to the table, the more people are going to hear it, the more it's going to get out there. Now, if someone comes to the table and says, well, I don't like that he was snarky to Micah, so I'm not going to be on board for, this. Everybody can agree, who is a good person, that fighting against the exploitation of children is the positive thing to do, regardless of what the person is saying and how they're getting there. Because my platform has grown because of that. And so other people who are growing a lot slower, instead of tearing me down, I really want to just challenge you to take that same energy and put it into taking down exploitation of children and see what happens. I challenge you to do the one thing, to take all that energy and all that hatred for me and turn it into anger and hatred for the exploitation of children instead. Now, I'm not saying you're not angry or hatred towards that. I'm just saying, put your money where your mouth is. Doing 50 videos without a crystal ball does nothing for ending child exploitation. Covering one family vlogger here and there doesn't really do much, as far as I'm concerned. But that's my challenge to you. If you guys all want to take this on, I'll hand you the baton. I'll walk away if you don't like what I'm doing. As long as the conversation is continuing. So this is my plea to everybody on YouTube who's doing this stuff. Continue to cover this. Continue to not let the conversation die down. Even if that means you want to come after me with hate, the conversation's still happening. That's okay by me. But please make sure that your priority is to the thing that you guys all seem to agree with me on. And that is that exploitation of children is wrong. Right? And that if that is your priority, like a lot of you say it is, it would be really cool if your content reflected that, is all I'm saying. And everybody's going to be like, well, there he is. He's saying it, that if you're against me, that you're for child exploitation. And I don't know how many times I have to say that. I absolutely don't believe that at all. But when people are coming at me with like how I'm doing it wrong and this, you suck at this and you're terrible, but don't come up with any solutions whatsoever, unless they're solutions I already had, sorry. You're just coming at me because you're using me for clout, and I can't blame you. That's how YouTube works. But at the same time, read your comment sections. Look at your ratio. Why don't you do one video hate on me, and then when you do one video on the exploitation of children, and see what happens. I challenge you to do that one thing. You're spending so much time and energy trying to tear me down and the message that I'm trying to bring forward that inadvertently, you might not realize this, but people do see that as you're trying to tear down my message. And I don't believe that you are. I think that a lot of you actually do believe that I'm wrong in the way I'm doing it, and you need to expose it or give me criticisms, because that's what you do. You criticize people because that's, for some reason, that seems to be socially acceptable. I guess. I do it too. I criticize Mike and James and family vloggers for being fake in everything that they do, and they deserved it completely. And I won't stop. So, all that to be said, I hope this video has been helpful to you about how we're going to push forward with all this. And that, yeah, I'm not going to be drama baited. I will continue to push forward with the message. Got the blinders on. I will go forward. The people that you follow and the people that you go for on YouTube, when they do the videos against family vloggers, make sure you give them the thumbs up, the accolades, the comments for algorithms, and everything that they need to pump that out there. I will always, even the ones who hate me the most, if they do videos against family vloggers, 100% have my support. I'll like that video. Boom, I'll help you in the algorithm. 100%. I don't care if you hate me, as long as you're against the exploitation of children and you're proving that in your content, then I'm 100% for you. You can make a million hate videos about me all you want. That's cool. But I will always be in support of those channels who are against child exploitation. Does that make sense? I hope so. This is kind of a jumbled video. But I hope that helps you guys in going forward with what you're going to do. Ignore me if you hate me. That's just honestly the best way to do this. And anybody who is against me, like people who follow me, going in those comment sections and starting arguments and stuff like that is just not helpful. It really helps the person. Again, a death knell to people on YouTube is to be ignored. That's how you stop the stuff you don't like. So all those 40 people that keep leaving comments on every single video that's against me, just don't watch me. I'll get 40 less views. But clearly the conversation is happening. And so I don't want anybody to be left behind. I want to make sure that everybody has their voice heard if they're against the exploitation of children. That's it. So if you don't have anything to say nice on my platform, that's just not going to be for the advancement of this cause, you don't get a voice on my platform. I will delete your shit. It'll be gone. Don't need it here. We are focused now. If you want the snark and go hate on me on the other channel, that's cool. I'll see you over there. But this channel is going to be more dedicated, not 100%, but more dedicated to just that main mission, that main focus. With my other thing, with the church stuff and all that stuff, I'll still continue to do as much as I can of that. Bible stories of swearing, all the stuff that you guys actually like too, I will continue to do those things as well. And so I will be cutting back a hair on the amount of videos I do about family vlogging, because I want to start focusing on these really, really well-detailed documentary-style videos, because I think they're more powerful in the end. I really do think so. And then the snark stuff will be on the other channel, because you guys still like that. So, thank you for watching this channel, everybody. Thank you for being along with me. I am not going to be around until after Christmas, I think. We'll see. Maybe I might come on a live soon and do some wrapping presents, and we'll have some guitar. I don't want to do anymore. I want to take 4 or 5 days off of complete drama. People can make as many videos as they want about me. I'm completely not watching them ever again. That is my main focus now, and I've got people around me that aren't going to watch it, and nobody's going to bring it up to my attention. I am not going to watch them. So you can make them all you want. Call me out all you want. I am not going to give any more of my social media currency or my personal time and attention to people like that. And I think that's a good rule of thumb on YouTube. Everybody should kind of follow that rule. So I hope that you have an incredibly Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Hanukkah, Ramadan. I don't know what people celebrate. Whatever it is you celebrate, I hope that you have a good time, even though during these crazy lockdown periods and things that are happening, especially in my city, like our whole province is being locked down until like January 23rd. So it's going straight lockdown. Nobody's working. It's going to be hard for a lot of people. And I'm going to try to bring a little bit more positivity to this channel over the big giant period of lockdowns that are going to be happening, with the good stuff about family vloggers too, but then, start covering some other stuff for real, right? Maybe bringing Jeff and Tom and let's start having podcasts. Can we have some fun? But at the same time, making sure we do cover the seriousness of this topic. You are incredible. I hope all your Christmas wishes come true. I hope you get that crappy card your kid made with love, crayons, and you cherish that forever. And if you do have to spend Christmas alone because of the lockdown, I hope you can find community here in this channel or wherever you need to get it. I'm always here for you. If you got an email or an Instagram, reach out to me, whatever it is you need. I'm going to be doing some firesides, some acoustic stuff as I can over the next few days. No more drama. New focus. Let's go.